Often what we're seeing is with changing codes in the commercial and residential market space, we're seeing spray foam become a factor in the roofing industry. One of the things that we've been doing is taking an assembly like this, which is 2-pound spray foam, up under the side of joists, and you have plywood. And basically what we want to do is we want to probe into the wood with like you would a handheld moisture meter, and do that in a number of locations. And in fact, this particular sensor here, located beside each drain in this project, probes up into the plywood and takes a measurement as to what the moisture content of that wood is. The concern from building envelope specialists is that any roof leak that would occur within this assembly basically would start to rot out your structure, whether it be the plywood subfloor or whether it be the joist itself, long before moisture would start dripping through your 2-pound spray foam. The overall concept of this is to put a low-cost sensor system that would go in and monitor this for the life of the building and report back as to how items are performing. We did that on quite a few projects now, but this one's going back to, I believe you have data going back to like 2016. And over the time of the building, generally things remain dry. Each one of these roof decks has a moisture content sensor installed in it. And basically you're able to take a reading off of it through a data logger system and report back up to the cloud as to how things are performing. Each one of these roof decks generally has remained dry, except for the red ones. Z23 was a small planter deck that got wet pretty much immediately when it rained, and so they went and redetailed it, and it dried out. Z1 was a parapet detail up on the top part of a roofing system, and Z6 was more interesting. And when I say more interesting, the graph is shown there on the right-hand side. So we overlay a lot of weather data, which is displayed within that graph. So yellow is sunlight, blue is rain-related events. And you can see here that the moisture content level on the y-axis is basically pretty steady at 12-15%. So for moisture content of wood, basically you want it to stay below 19%, below 20%, and anything above 27% is considered saturated and ultimately really wet. So what caused this? So you look towards the rain and you go, hey, when it was raining in September, it was not leaking. And so it probably was not an external membrane related factor. But when it did start getting cold, and we did do temperature correlation graphs to this, but when it did start getting cold, condensation started forming on the underside of the deck. And so after some inspection, basically the overall roof deck did start to condense because there was no spray foam insulation done within this area where there was air handling put into place. So from that perspective, you're picking up not only roof leaks, but you're also picking up on areas that weren't properly insulated and condensation forming.